Toastmasters International has got two very important programs which every club and every member should be going through. One is the Better Club series, which tells us how to run a club successfully. And the other, the Better Speaker series, which gives a lot of tips to speakers to become better by adopting these lessons learned from these very small, learning modules. One of the biggest challenges that most Toastmasters face is about preparing their speeches. How many of you have this problem? In fact, what I had to give as the presidential address today, I was really breaking my head for almost an hour yesterday as to how I connect what I have to say to the theme and to the word of the day. Toastmasters has a very simple method. The moment you are asked to speak or you decide to speak, you've got to first decide what you want to speak about. Whether it is an entertaining speech or whether it's an informative speech, a decision you have to take. And then write down everything that comes to your mind about that particular topic. It may be relevant, it may not be relevant, but write it down. The more you write, the more ideas you get. Perhaps your writing may not happen at one go. It may take maybe 2 days, or 3 days, or 4 days. Every time you get an idea, jot it down, add it to that list of sentences or events that you plan to bring out. And then start reading what you've written. You will realize that there are certain parts of the speech that stand out from the others. Keep them as important. Now you also have the guidelines given to you. Every speech has a guideline. If it is the organizing of the speech, the opening, body or conclusion, or if it is getting to the point, or if it means using your gestures, or if it means experimenting with your voice, you have to look at the content of your speech, having these things facilitated. That would be the first part of your preparation. The second part would be to read out the whole thing, rewrite if it means rewriting it the third time, rewrite, keeping in mind your time. Now, when we say that we have 5 to 7 minutes to speak, then you know that the normal speaking rate is 140 to 120 to 160 words per minute. So that many words into that many minutes, these are the only words that you can use if you want to fit in your speech. If you prepare yourself that way, your script is ready. What next? You got to become familiarize yourself with what you are going to speak. So you need to keep reading speech again and again. Practice your speech. I'm not going to use the word memorize because memorizing your speech becomes very, very difficult. You've got to practice your speech. And every time you practice, you know what you want to say. Now coming to the lectern, the audience, the microphone, there are a lot of people who do not know how to use a mic. If I have to check the mic, this is what I would do, not always. You need to tap lightly for you to know that the mic is working or not. I do this training for the child, while youth leadership program, a lot of children, when they hear about this, they purposefully come, even if it was checked by the previous speaker, they will come and check it. Okay? But when you are a speaker, if somebody has already spoken, you already know the mic is working. So you've got to be aware of that. Otherwise, if you're not sure, check it and keep some distance between the mic and you. You need to not speak into the mic like this, like a singer does. Keep a distance. Okay? Understand your audience. You got to know who you're speaking to. In a club, you know who the members are, but if you're speaking elsewhere, you got to know who the audience is. What is the age? group, or what is the intellect level of the audience. Otherwise, you perhaps going over their head if you give a very highly intellectual speech like Rajdeep may give. Sometimes people have to use visual aids. Now, if I am talking about a cell phone, I shouldn't be using this, speaking about the cell phone, looking at it myself, but I have to keep showing it to you. This is what I am talking about. It means you are all aware of what I am speaking. Okay? Now, like I said, practice the idea in your mind rather than the words that you have written. Say your speech to yourself again and again. If you're driving, maybe when you're having a bar or when you're going to sleep, just give your speech yourself. You will find that you are very comfortable about what you have to say. If you're going to start preparing on Thursday evening for a Friday evening meeting, you're going to bomb. You're not going to feel satisfied. Okay? Now, how do you add or add color to your speech? You already have the content. We talk about adding triads, similes, metaphors. These things will come in later. Making it flowery is something that you add later. A lot of our champion speakers will come and ask, how did I do? Do you have any suggestions about my speech? Why they ask that? Because they would have been thinking in one direction. If somebody gives them another idea, they will think, okay, this is a good idea. Maybe they would use it. They may not use it also, but still they have an opinion from somebody else. So adding improvements gradually makes your speech better. And you always have a feedback at the club. It would be nice to ask 2 other members or 3 other members, give me small feedbacks about my speech. But apart from what the evaluator did. The evaluators, most of the time, we try to impress the club by giving a flowery evaluation, but what is the take-home value for the speaker? So you as a speaker, talk to somebody who's good and say, give me 2 or 3 tips about my speech. So you have some feedback for yourself. As a speaker, you should know that you will be introduced. Be sure you have something written and given to the master servant. This is my introduction. And it makes you feel nice when you're introduced well. I feel nice when I'm introduced. When I'm introduced well. Prepare yourself physically. Now, I gave a seminar in Bangalore, one of the engineering colleges. Due to various reasons, I reached late. Just half an hour before the session, I reached the college. And I didn't have time for anything. I found it very difficult speaking there with my bladder. My dear friends, it not allowing matter, it is very uncomfortable. Make yourself very comfortable. If you have to sip a little water, sip some water. Feel comfortable and you'll be able to speak well. The mental rehearsals as you are preparing yourselves makes the speech very, very easy. Most of our speakers who come here, prepare themselves and give a fire speech, let me tell you, have done a lot of work. For those of you who have not yet started speaking, this is the only way. Start somewhere. And this is the place you're going to make mistakes. Start making mistakes. At least you know where you're going. Somebody will tell you. Somebody will hold your hand. And somebody will support you. Now, like Hari said, 2 years transformed him. I have seen him. I have heard him speak right 2 years ago. And I see the transformation. And it is a pride of our club that here is somebody who has reached some pinnacle of success. We will always talk about this man who left our club because he was committed to preparing his speeches. My dear friends, it's in your hands. If you want to become a better speaker, if you want to be applauded well, if you want to be appreciated, it's in your mind, it's in your hands. Mr. Toastmaster.